Welcome to Conversations with K and J. We're your hosts, Kayla and Janae.
And here, we talk about love, life,
and lessons learned. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Daily Doses of Conversations with Kayla
and Janae.
And today's energy is based around sadness. It is okay to be sad. This is something we should be taught as kids, but instead we're told to stop crying or don't be sad. We're taught sadness is bad, but that is something we carry into our adult lives. Oftentimes we feel ashamed or afraid to admit that we're feeling unhappy. It's okay to be sad. Sadness is a very natural part of being human. When sadness arises, we should meet it with open arms, because it's here to teach us something. Let us not be ashamed to be sad, but rather honor the sadness and meet it with kindness, so that we can work through this emotion with ease. I find this pretty
so
interesting,
crazy,
right? So we just sat down with Kaylee and did our little daily pool for ourselves. And in her conversation, she let us know that sometimes she fakes a smile.
Yeah. She said most of the time she feels unhappy and she will fake it with a smile.
And I think that's something that we very much resonated with as well, because we are constantly, collectively, in this place of having to put our best foot forward and not really be as real as we would want to be, because it seems like a negative thing or a bad thing to feel your emotions and kind of react or respond to it. But when we look at this, like it said, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Now, choosing to stay in that place is a whole different conversation. But if it's something that you are genuinely just feeling it's calling your attention for a reason, so that you can really take the moment to digest in, what is it, like insect?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you do?
Dissect,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like insect. That sounds like it didn't sound right. Dissect what is really the cause of the sadness or the unhappiness, right? So this very beautifully flows into this Five of Pentacles energy that is present today. And the Five of Pentacles is looked at as a sense of feeling abandoned or neglected or unworthy, undeserving, not really seeing the value within yourself or maybe the things or places and spaces you're connected to. And knowing that our outside is a reflection of how we feel within. Mm-hmm. And it's easy to put on this mask to where we even end up lying to ourselves that we are more okay than we actually are, because again, having to put the best foot forward all the time. And that never really helps us get closer to finding the issue at hand.
Yeah.
And I think it's because people are looking for things outside of them to figure out like what really is making them unhappy. I feel like this goes into our last conversation that we uploaded on the channel, where we were speaking about relationships and how it's easy to blame the person instead of seeing that you are unhappy within yourself.
Right. A scapegoat.
And sometimes, God will put you in a stalemate or a stagnation type of energy for you to see that regardless of what you have or don't have externally, it's all about what is going on internally. Mm-hmm. Because I say very often on the channel that you can move state to state, country to country, but if you haven't handled what's going on within your mind and your soul or your body, right, like you're still going to have those same feelings and issues follow you.
Right. But I think it's fair enough to say that the first place to look into why you're unhappy is your environment, right? Mm-hmm. I think if you don't know what you're going through emotionally or why you're feeling this way, the first thing is to look around you and pinpoint the things that's like Well, looking at these blank walls make me unhappy. Looking at that I work all day and that's it makes me unhappy. So I think it does start with your environment, and it helps you start to look into, well, what can I do to change that? Like, what can I start doing to make me happy or feel whole again? That was the conversation with Kaylee, though. That was like, she was saying, I don't know, she feels sad because she don't know what to do. Like, we're kind of in a place of stagnation, all of us, and it's making her unhappy that she can't figure out, like, how can I get out more? How can I, like, what can I be doing to uplift myself when I'm just kind of stuck in the house all day? Mm-hmm. You know, and it's kind of like doing COVID, right? The environment for a lot of people was in the house, and that made a lot of people depressed and, you know, hard to figure out their left from their right because they was just used to getting up and going to work every day, and that was kind of masking the sadness that they were having. Yep. And when COVID happened, it forced you to think about all the things you was feeling inside and not covering up with the outside. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah. And I think even within you saying it in that sense, it did made me think about, like you saying, being in blank walls or spaces. Mm-hmm. It does make you, again, dissect yourself and wonder why you're feeling those emotions. And I think where I get kind of stuck is I can't always identify exactly what is making me feel that way, because even though I have gotten away from people, places, and spaces that were contributing to my sadness or my unhappiness, the feeling still lingers. Like, it's still holding on to that or connecting to that. But now that I'm saying it, it kind of goes into our session from yesterday of episode 4, talking about your desire versus like what's best for you. Yeah. And it's catching those emotions up with where you are now. And I think sometimes our emotions linger in those past places and spaces and connections without focusing on forward movement. You know, it's like this morning I said that the TikTok that I watched where the guy was saying he woke up every day and told God, like, I still believe and I trust you. Like, I still believe in what you have for me, and I trust you, even though the present moment may not be what he was expecting it to be. It was all about knowing that in your moments of stillness and stagnation, God is preparing you to be the version of yourself that you need to be to fully enjoy and be fulfilled within that next phase of life. And I feel like, again, I've been complaining a lot lately, and it's been frustrating me because I can't quite understand completely why I feel so unsettled. And just hearing that TikTok kind of made me think that maybe I'm still not prepared for what I'm praying for. Right. And that's not for me to get down on myself. It's just to focus more on cleaning up my emotions, cleaning up my mind, and removing myself from the feelings and the situations mentally that are keeping me stuck emotionally. And I do want to go into this next phase of life and not bring in this heaviness or this burden or this emotional sadness, or maybe even the guilt of having to leave things and people behind. Like, I'm tired of moving forward with life and still feeling this sense of lack. And that's what this, right, that's what this 5 of Pentacles is talking about. It's the card of being left out in the cold, or feeling like no one cares about you enough to check on you, or to, you know, like, right their wrongs in order to show you how much they care about you. And that's still going to be an inner reflection of how you feel about yourself. It's kind of like the victim mentality of saying, like, oh, this person didn't care that they hurt me, or didn't care that they did this to me. And then you take it upon yourself to feel like, well, maybe I'm not, like, good enough. Maybe I just wasn't lovable enough. And it's not that at all. because it starts with you first. You have to know that you are worthy enough to not stay in places and spaces and connections with people that keep you in that energy of feeling invaluable or feeling down. And so the Five of Pentacles is connected to the Five of Swords. And this could easily be related to energy outside of you that is manipulating, your mind and throwing illusions at you per se. But when we take it in a more personal sense, this Five of Swords is talking about the things that you've experienced all the way back to childhood, right, that still haunts you in your mind. And for me, I guess I just realized that this stopped maybe 2 years ago, but I used to always hear my mother yelling my name in my head when I felt like I was making a choice for myself or doing something that I felt like they probably wouldn't agree with. Like I could literally hear, it's like PTSD, like having that trauma of still feeling like I'm going to get in trouble for choosing something for myself without asking permission or asking their perspective. And again, it's going to be something that you're going to have to balance and work through. But this is all about knowing your own value and knowing what is best for you without continuing to downplay what you deserve. And so this is connected to the Two of Wands energy in the sense of understanding you're going to come to a place, if not there already, of being at a crossroads where you're going to have to make a choice. You're going to have to make a decision to either go down the path that everyone else sees or wants or desires for you, and maybe even society is influencing, or choosing the path less traveled that is going to be something that awakens your soul and your truth and your desire. And there's always going to be a risk involved. Me stepping into spirituality and leaving the church, me stepping into a lesbian lifestyle instead of a straight lifestyle. Like, it was definitely things that were sacrificed within it, but I would do it 10 times over again, right, because it was beyond worth it for me in the life that I'm creating, in the life that I'm seeking and desire, right? It may not be for everyone else, but for me, it was written for my life, for my experience. Right. And had I not gone and chosen any of the things that I did in life, whether those were good or bad, I wouldn't be where I was today. And that's something that Kaylee, reminded us of as well, just letting us know that we had to go through the disagreements and the destruction that we just recently, moved away from or experienced, because it got us where we are right now, getting more into ourselves and into our gifts and into where we're supposed to be in life.
Right. I think it forced us to make a solid decision that will ultimately give us the world. And it will give us the world because we made that decision for ourselves.
Yeah, the world we're seeking.
Mm-hmm. And I think to bring it back to ourselves, it's like we didn't have to tell ourselves, are we prepared for the new life that we're asking for? Have we made the changes in the present to continue that into the new? But I think we was talking about that like just now. Like, if we got everything we wanted tomorrow, would we really be prepared for that?
Okay, so to see that on a different side, because as you say that and I look at this Knight of Pentacles, the Knight of Pentacles is about like detours, things slowing down or going in a different direction but still ending up where you need to be. Is it really about us taking it so personal in the sense of saying that we're not ready and prepared yet, versus saying that, because I feel like the readings has also been saying there's nothing more that we need to do.
Right, that we did all the work.
So is it just being prepared for what comes with this next phase of life? Like, as I just said, me stepping into spirituality or this relationship, I knew that there were going to be things that were lost along the way or having to be let go. But is it knowing that part of it? Like this next phase of your life that you are praying and manifesting for, you can see all the benefits and the goodness that comes with it, but what would have to be left behind in the process of that? And that's even outside of like relationships, because I think we are all collectively experiencing letting go of people. But what parts of your reality, of yourself, of your mind would go as well?
Right. I mean, I think our journey is never really gonna be a clear path. Like, I feel like we think that, oh, if I get this new life, that all the obstacles are over. Like, I just think that we have to learn to let go of the old, because there's gonna be new things that that we're gonna have to maneuver through. The journey never really ends with healing and fixing something else. Like, you leave something behind, now you got to fix your mindset. Oh, and now I got to fix,
But what if it's the perspective that you want to be seen in? It's like I just said this morning, how I received a comment and the girl was saying that she was a little intimidated to ask a question. And it did kind of make me sad, because I never wanted to be perceived as someone intimidating. But the person that I'm becoming and what I stand for it is intimidating. Right. So it's like me having to let go of that past perspective of myself. I'm not just...
Is intimidating being a bad thing?
Right. Yes. It's seeing things in a new light, and also seeing yourself and realizing that you're not the same. I wasn't intimidating before and didn't see myself intimidating before, because I was never speaking up or doing anything that would cause people to see me in a light of needing to come correctly or making sure that they are clear within their intentions. But I do demand that respect, because that's what I stand on. That's who I am, and that's what I would give to anyone, So it's me needing to let go of that and not feeling like I'm losing myself within that. I don't need to remain sweet, humble, quiet Kayla so people don't feel intimidated to speak to me.
Right.
Like, that's the energy that I'm giving off in this new cycle of life, because that's where I'm aligned to be and who I'm aligned to be in this moment. And again, yes, I expect respect and for you to be conscious of what you are saying and speaking, because I am that way with the way I carry myself towards other people. So what I put out, I do expect to get in return. And again, that still goes into the Five of Pentacles energy of how you see yourself. Why would I expect anything less than what I am being from anyone else or anything else in life? And again, it still goes back to my whole humble conversation. Like, I am a very humble person. You will never see me get out of control or in my ego to feel like I'm this or that and don't need this or that, because that's just not what I'm built off of. So why should I accept things that are less than what I know I'm putting the energy and effort into? Yeah. I think that's what's been causing frustration. Like, I think we collectively stay stuck in a lack mindset because we are always willing to take the lesser end of things instead of knowing that, no, we work hard and we put in the energy and effort, so we do deserve to have good things.
Right. We're willing to compromise ourselves. And it's just like, compromise for what? For who?
Yeah. And I feel like that's why this Knight of Pentacles comes into play. It's more of like things slowing down. But what slows down is that maybe we have always compromised ourselves in major ways that could have gotten us a lot further if we would have just stayed firmly on what we were committed to. It's kind of like, I hate this example, but people saying like, oh, I don't want to be in a relationship until I reach a certain point in my career, because focusing on that relationship will slow me down, which I believe, like, that as an example, I feel like there's truth to what people are saying. Like, if you're focused on the wrong things and they're taking you away from what you're building,
Right.
yes, that's a distraction. But I don't believe that saying per se, like, if you're given to the wrong person or the wrong relationship, yes, that's going to be a distraction and take you away. But us being together never took me away from my vision. If anything, it motivated and encouraged me. So I think you gotta see what's worth it and what's just reckless at the end of the day.
Right. Well, I feel some people have this mindset that they gotta have one first before they have the other, and you can tell yourself, I can have it all.
Yeah.
I don't have to have just a career before I have the relationship. I can have all that at the same time.
Yeah.
But you end up settling for one to think that it will draw the other. And that's not.
Well, some people can't if they're not making wise choices.
Right,
That's what
right.
I'm saying. If you over here trying to build a music career and you feel like you want hoes and clothes and everything
Right.
in between, like on the way there,
Right.
then you're probably going to end up on a path that ends like in a distraction or destructive, instead of like knowing that when you get to where you're going, that stuff is going to naturally come. And that's what I mean. I don't think you and I were seeking each other in the moments that we ended up like
But I'm
connecting.
saying, but I'm saying I didn't block it off either. I didn't say,
Right,
like, I'm
you were
just gonna
still
focus
open
on
to
my
it.
career and I'm just gonna block love off right now. No, I told myself I'm open to love also while I'm working on like finding my career.
Right. And that's what I mean. We set firm boundaries on like, we're going to be open to, whatever comes, but it also has to meet these requirements. Like,
Right.
has to be someone that's willing to put in the same energy and effort that I'm willing to put in. Someone who is respectful and loyal and communicative. And like, that's what I'm saying. You can't just settle for anything. You can't just be choosing anything recklessly and thinking that it won't come in as a distraction. You
Right.
didn't come into my life wanting all of my time and attention and wanting me to like not give my energy to my channel or my business. If anything, you were making that known that you were going to give me whatever kind of support I needed in order to support me within that venture of my life. Whereas some people come in and they end up being that distraction of like, I want all your time and attention and I don't want you, focusing on certain things.
Well, yeah, that's because they focus in that moment on themselves of like, I want you to feel me. I want you to heal me. Like, I'm coming in for you to heal me, instead of like, it's supporting each other.
Right. So the Five of Pentacles is clarified by the Nine of Wands, which speaks on challenges. And this could be the pressure of other people. Like I said, this Five of Swords, whether you physically have people around you or not, is still the things that linger within our minds. I like to use this as the example of people coming around and saying like, oh, you all Hollywood now. You don't know how to call nobody and you don't
changed.
come around. And it's just like, no, you've really just been focusing on building yourself, and you should not feel bad for your growth and your success and achievement around you, again, choosing you, because anyone that is truly for you would want that for you. And not try to guilt trip you into feeling like, again, that's something that is selfish. This still
Right.
stems from the conversation of yesterday. But now I think I'm like crossing the Patreon readings, because I told Patreon about Tori, the fitness girl, and how she, felt so much stress and anxiety because she was trying to be a doctor, because the whole hood had to come up with her because she was the only one reaching those accomplishments in her life, until it just got overpowering and it ended up like really stressing her out in a way that made her sick. And at some point you have to choose between yourself and other people, and that comes down to knowing that the people that truly deserve it is the ones that are truly working towards something. Like, I'm not going to work my ass off night and day and feel burnt out and drained for someone that's not willing to put in any energy and effort to change their life around either.
Right. And even in that, how you know that somebody is for you, that if they see you being burnt out, instead of encourage you to like, oh, well, you can't stop now because we ain't get there yet, they would encourage you to take that rest. They'd be like, then stop if you feel like that's not it's not healthy for you right now.
Yeah.
And that's how you know if somebody's for you or against you. If you tell somebody you want to change directions and do something different, and they tell you like, I don't know, you shouldn't do that. No, they should be telling you, go for it.
Right. I think that very well comes back to the sadness of Kaylee feeling safe enough to express, like, y'all, I'll be
I'm not
faking a
happy.
smile half
Right.
the time, and we ain't tell her, like, girl, you only 9, there ain't nothing you should be unhappy about, and,
Right. In that
like,
moment, we could have been that way. We could have been like, you got nothing to be unhappy with. You do this, and that. Like, stop that complaining. No, we allow her to say that she was unhappy.
Yeah,
she
was
don't
real
know
and
herself.
raw, and she was like, I feel like I've lost myself.
Well, that's how I feel like now as adults. That's why it's so hard for us to say that we're sad, because we didn't get that opportunity as a kid. So that's why you always got to go back into your
inner child.
And really ask yourself, why was you sad? Because if you were sad then, you're a sad adult now, and you're just not realizing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was very proud of her that she did.
Yeah.
Say that.
And I'm proud of us for understanding. I mean, and that's why we validated her and let her know, like, that makes so much sense, and you have a right to feel sad. I mean, like, you've basically been moved away from everyone and everything that you know. You're in the middle of a new country, a foreign country, with people who don't speak your language. You don't really have friends.
She doesn't have a normal she doesn't have a childhood that we're used to.
Right.
And I'm not going to say that it's not normal, based off the way the times is looking now, but no, she doesn't have a normal childhood.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of these kids these days don't have we went through COVID. We went through, like, they don't have no normal childhood. The things that they get to see and see what their parents is going through right now, that is not normal. Like,
No, but that's also a reflection of us collectively as adults. That's what I'm saying. How many times have we sat and been like, damn, like, life is real different than we thought. Like, I would think that growing up, my life would be similar to how it was in the 90s, like, the simple days of just going to the mall or being in the car listening to music, or, like, things are not so simplistic anymore. Things are not.
Right. Well, that's why our parents don't think that we're normal. And it just keeps going and going, because this world just be changing so fast. And you got to go back into your inner child and tell yourself what you was unhappy about then and how you brought that into your present.
Yeah. So today's energy is about keeping it real with yourself about how you feel, and not being ashamed or feeling like you are unworthy or undeserving of good things and good feelings for yourself. But you have to get real enough to know what needs to change and what choices you need to make in order to bring about that. And when we speak on this Knight of Pentacles of delays and detours, no, the path may not have been laid out like you expected it to be, but God will always reroute you in a way to bring you exactly where you need to be.
Right.
So that's it, y'all. That's today's energy. I hope it helped and resonated. We love you guys, and we will talk to you in our next one. Bye.